What if the more than 8,000 silent sentinels of the first emperor of China were not merely terracotta, but a colossal army suspended in a state of petrified animation, waiting for an astronomical or geomagnetic alignment, a specific resonance in the Earth's core, or perhaps a precise, subtle command that has been lost to time, a command that could bring them roaring back to life? This sounds utterly insane, a fever dream born of ancient paranoia. But if it were true, then the very foundations of human history would be violently shaken, and our modern civilization would be living upon the sleeping grounds of a potential cataclysm, a terrifying secret concealed for over 2 millennia. For centuries, humanity has marveled at the sheer scale and individuality of these clay warriors, forever asking, how was such a feat of engineering and artistry accomplished by a fledgling empire? And if it was built to protect its emperor in the afterlife, what if the protection was not purely spiritual, but fundamentally physical? An 8,000-strong insurance policy against death itself?
Listen to
The
your
origins and traces of this silent legion are steeped in a potent mix of historical fact and unsettling enigma, unearthed by chance in 1974 by farmers digging a well. The discovery revealed an underground military complex of unfathomable scale, a sprawling necropolis meant to accompany Qin Shi Huang, the unifier of China, into his eternal domain. Historical texts, specifically the records of Sima Jin, describe the emperor's tomb as a microcosm of his empire, complete with flowing rivers of Mercurian active, deadly component to this day in the ceiling embedded with stars and constellations. Yet, these same accounts, meticulous in their detail about the emperor's paranoia and his elaborate tomb, make no explicit mention of an entire army of terracotta soldiers. This chilling omission is a historical void that fuels the mystery. Was the Terracotta Army a last-minute replacement for the thousands of human sacrifices the emperor initially intended, a testament to his Prime Minister Li Si's desperate intervention? Or was it something so profoundly secret, so utterly terrifying in its intent, that any written record had to be purged from history, ensuring that the spell of their eternal slumber would never be accidentally broken by a scribe's careless hand? The scientific examination of the figures only deepens the bizarre nature of their creation. Each warrior is a masterpiece of early mass production, built from coiled clay, fired at high temperatures, and originally painted in vibrant, lifelike colors, suggesting an obsessive commitment to realism. But the true puzzle lies not in the artistry, but in the weaponry. The bronze weapons found clutched by or next to the figure swords, lances, crossbows, and arrows remain astonishingly well preserved, many still gleaming and razor-sharp after 2,000 years. Initially, scientists theorized that the Qin craftsmen had pioneered an advanced anti-rust technology involving a chromium-based coating, a technique only patented in the 20th century, while more recent studies attribute the preservation to the unique alkaline soil of the region and the high tin content of the bronze, the sheer metallurgical prowess demonstrated, combined with the fact that these weapons appear unused, manufactured solely for the tomb, points to a technological capability far beyond what we comfortably attribute to the Qin dynasty. It hints at a hidden knowledge of proto-science or a form of energetic metallurgy, perhaps linked to alchemical secrets, something that stabilized the physical form for an eternal purpose. Here, we must expand our view beyond simple archaeology and introduce a genuinely unsettling hypothesis. What if the life-size terracotta bodies were constructed not as effigies, but as vessels designed to harbor a non-biological, perhaps even quantum, form of the Qin soldier's chi or life force? From a mystical or cosmic perspective, the mausoleum is not just a tomb, but a colossal, geoengineered containment field. The structure itself, aligned with astronomical bodies and utilizing a massive subterranean lake of elemental mercury, could be acting as a giant, 2,000-year-old battery or a metaphysical anchor. The mercury, a substance revered in alchemy for its transformative and preservative properties, perpetually flows, creating a low-level, resonant energy field. This constant cosmic or telluric energy, subtly channeled by the precise arrangement of the 8,000 unique clay figures, is what keeps the latent essence of the Emperor's most elite guard in a state of ready existence, patiently waiting for the signal that would transform ceramic back into flesh, or perhaps a terrifying synthesis of both. Consider the notion of a star metal resonance. Ancient Chinese cosmology holds deep connections between the earthly realm and celestial events. What if every few millennia, a specific celestial alliance meant perhaps involving a comet, a planetary conjunction not yet fully tracked, or even a particular solar flare creates a powerful, focused wave of cosmic energy, a wave that temporarily destabilizes the molecular structure of the terracotta clay itself? At this precise moment, the contained life force could seize the opportunity, utilizing the heightened bronze weaponry not just as defense, but as conductors for the energy needed to reverse the petrification process. The distinct individuality of each warrior's face, meticulously crafted to resemble a real man, suddenly becomes less of an artistic flourish and more of a necessary key to house that specific individual's spirit or consciousness. The societal and planetary consequences of this awakening would be catastrophic and immediate. If the Terracotta Army were to awaken, it would not be a gradual process, but a sudden, violent eruption. The impact on civilization would begin with a geological shockwave. The sheer force of 8,000 hardened clay bodies simultaneously moving would collapse the massive hangar-like pits where they lie, creating a localized seismic event, perhaps triggering a catastrophic venting of mercury vapor from the sealed core of the Emperor's tomb, instantly poisoning the surrounding environment of Xi'an. The political and social fallout would be unimaginable. An army from 2,000 to 100 years ago, utterly loyal to a tyrannical, long-dead emperor, would materialize on the world stage. Tensions between nations would instantly escalate from Cold War to hot, as the world struggles to identify and contain a seemingly endless, supernaturally preserved fighting force whose goal is presumably to reclaim the Qin dynasty's ancient boundaries. Modern military forces, designed to fight flesh and blood enemies, would be faced with a foe that is immune to pain, perhaps even impervious to conventional ballistics, animated by a foreign energy source and driven by a 2 millennia-old, unwavering mandate. In terms of the natural world and the universe, such a sudden shift would ripple far beyond human society. The sudden, immense draw of latent energy required for the awakening could cause temporary, unexplainable local weather patterns, a sudden drop in temperature, bizarre lightning storms, or an unnerving magnetic interference that scrambles satellites and global communication networks. The delicate atmospheric balance of the Earth might be subtly altered by the release of whatever ancient energies held the army in check. Furthermore, if the awakening is tied to a celestial event, the event itself might send a powerful, unique energy signature outward into the cosmos. This cosmic signature, a 2,000-year-old alarm clock finally going off, could potentially alert other, unknown life forms or civilizations in the universe that the first Emperor's defense mechanism has been activated, fundamentally changing the human race's relationship with the rest of the cosmos. Our greatest archaeological wonder would become the catalyst for first contact, or perhaps for a cataclysmic interspecies war. The deepest impact, however, would be on the human psyche, on our religions, our philosophies, and our understanding of life itself. The return of the Terracotta Army would obliterate the established scientific narrative of history. In archaeology, everything we hold as factual truth about the past, about early technology, and about the limits of human achievement would be rewritten in fire and clay. Traditional religions that rely on a specific interpretation of the afterlife would face an existential crisis, forced to confront a reality where an ancient emperor managed to defy death and history through sheer, technologically enabled will. Daily life would devolve into a state of perpetual fear and mobilization, as all global resources are diverted to the ultimate existential threat. And here is where the chilling end lies. If the Terracotta Army is not merely a statue, but a dormant technology of consciousness transfer or energetic suspension, then the question is not if they can awaken, but why they haven't already. Perhaps the Emperor's true tomb, still sealed beneath the colossal burial mound nearby, contains a hidden mechanism, a final command trigger, Or perhaps even the preserved body of Qin Shi Huang himself, waiting to receive his eternal guard. If the Terracotta Army is real, an activated defense against the ravages of time in the afterlife, then we have only touched the periphery of a colossal, horrifying secret. The mausoleum, the Mercury, the silent clay figure asset is all part of a single, grand, still active system. And the greatest question remains, if this sleeping legion has the power to return to life, then what unspeakable enemy from the spiritual or cosmic realm were they truly built to fight? An enemy that even the all-powerful First Emperor feared, and a threat that may yet emerge to meet his awakened guard? The Terracotta Army may be silent today, but that silence is not of eternal rest. It is the deep, unnerving quiet that precedes a catastrophic storm.